Also breaking tonight, a feud at the Justice Department over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. A source tells Fox News tonight that the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has not been seen in the office since Wednesday after a heated argument with Attorney General Pam Bondi at the White House. Our correspondent David Spunt has this story.
A verbal clash between Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino at the White House this week over the release of DOJ's Epstein memo. The two-pager out earlier this week insists the convicted sex trafficker and offender killed himself, and a client list does not exist after all. Fox is told by 4 separate sources Bongino is so upset about the rollout of the memo, he didn't show up to work on Friday in protest. One source says he hasn't been seen in the office since the argument with the Attorney General. Bondi teased the release of the Epstein material for months.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
But earlier this week, when pressed,
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
The White House is defending the Attorney General. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, in a statement to Fox News, says the president is proud of Bondi's efforts, adding the continued fixation on sowing division in President Trump's cabinet is baseless and unfounded in reality. FBI Director Kash Patel staying silent in the matter, at least publicly. He's been criticized online, along with Bondi and Bongino, by Trump supporters who feel the administration is being dismissive and not candid about Epstein. A source close to Bongino says he's thinking about resigning over this memo rollout, although no final decision has been made. Meanwhile, sources close to Director Patel and the Attorney General say they plan to stay right where they are. Aisha?
Okay, David Spunt staying on top of this one for us. Thank you, David.
President Trump is facing a revolt within his loyal MAGA base, all over his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Now, some Republicans are calling for Attorney General Pam Bondi to be fired. The fury appears to be growing after she released a memo last week on the notorious sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein, that said there was no evidence Epstein was murdered and no existence of a so-called client list of men who trafficked underage girls. President Trump defended Bondi this weekend, even attending a soccer match with her on Sunday. But the anger isn't just coming from outside the administration. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino reportedly considered resigning after a heated confrontation with Bondi over the case. Here was the president yesterday talking about Bongino's future.
Mr. President, is Dan Bongino still your Deputy FBI Director? Have you spoken with him?
I did. I spoke to him today. Dan Bongino, very good guy. I've known him a long time. I've done his show many, many times. And he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
I do think both of them believed what they were saying, and they're making a lot about it. But I do believe that they truly believe that there was some Epstein list and everything else. And then when they got into the FBI, they actually saw there was no list. All my sources tell me there is no absolute list. There's lots of things in the FBI file, but some of them are witnesses just talking, and it's not provable. It's just someone's opinion or someone's take on it. There's a lot of victim information in there. You may be able to put together a list on what people say, but there's no list. And there's no evidence that he was blackmailing everyone. And when they saw that, I think they came to realize it. And now they're in a situation where now their own base thinks that they fell into this deep state, that they're not telling the truth, which is surprising. And same thing, if in fact, I think if there's information in there in Trump, I think we would have saw it in the last election. I don't think there's anything in there about him specifically, just because I think that would have gotten out. But what people don't understand is everything in an FBI case isn't what you just release to the public. And even if they release it, I don't think their own base is going to believe that that's all that there's there. I think they're going to think they still are covering it up.
Yeah, they may never be satisfied, Tyler. So how does the president deal with this? You talk about how he's doing something different this time around than in his first administration in terms of handling a situation, not just going off and firing somebody. In fact, President Trump posted on social media that people should just not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein. So he's trying to calm the base. He's standing by Bondi. He's brushing off concerns about Bongino walking. Is he banking that this is just going to blow over?
I mean, he's clearly hoping that's the case. I think we'll see how it plays out over the course of the next few days, and Trump is going to continue to get questions on this. But I think we're just starting to see the fallout, and I think there are some Republicans that were surprised at how active the response was to this post.
Rob, in that long post that we just showed, President Trump also claimed that the Epstein files were written by a number of political adversaries, including former President Obama and Hillary Clinton and members of the Biden administration. What are your thoughts on this attempt to deflect blame and attention and turn it back to past administrations? Rob?
Yeah, I think that is just, again, you're trying to muddy the waters on something that's out there. They're trying to figure things out. And words matter in this. And I think that's what happened to Pam Bondi when she talked about the files on her desk. I think she was really referring to the entire file of Epstein and not a list. But that one word has now caught up to her in saying that the Epstein file was on her desk and she's just waiting to review it. So it's a really tough predicament. And when you have more than, one actor trying to get what they're going to come out with, I think that's what's, they're stumbling on, is how to say it, how to get their base back to where they're believing the people that they put in office.
All right, Rob D'Amico, Tyler Pager, guys, thank you very much for the conversation.
Sources telling Fox News the FBI director, Dan Bongino, is thinking of resigning from the agency after taking issue with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of those files.
Chanley Painter joins us with details on that.
Hey, good morning again, guys. So according to sources to Fox News Digital, this all comes on the heels of a heated argument between FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino and Attorney General Pam Bondi that occurred on Wednesday at the White House over the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. And this after the DOJ and FBI on Sunday released a joint review walking back its claims about an Epstein celebrity client list that apparently never existed. Sources also saying Bongino is considering resigning and took a day off from work on Friday due to his frustrations. But the White House is sticking up for Bondi, saying this, quote, President Trump is proud of Attorney General Bondi's efforts to execute his Make America Safe Again agenda, restore the integrity of the Department of Justice and bring justice to victims of crime. The continued fixation on sowing division in President Trump's cabinet is baseless and unfounded in reality. The deputy AG pushed back on reports of internal strife, posting, quote, I worked closely with the FBI director and deputy director on the joint FBI and DOJ memo regarding the Epstein files. All of us signed off on the contents of the memo and the conclusions stated in the memo. The suggestion by anyone that there was any daylight between the FBI and the DOJ leadership on this memo's composition and release is patently false. While Bongino's next move is unclear, sources tell Fox News Digital Bondi and Kash Patel, the FBI director, both have no intention of stepping down, guys.
Thank
All right, Chanley, thank you.
And of course, this case goes back a ways where you have Jeffrey Epstein, who originally back in the earlier teens gets a sweetheart deal, or actually it was the late aughts, I think, gets a sweetheart deal with federal prosecutors. They clearly knew a whole lot about what he was up to with the Lolita Express and his island in the Caribbean, and managed to get a sweetheart deal. Powerful people in powerful places, a lot of money, which leads to lots and lots of very legitimate and serious questions about how he wasn't jailed earlier for some of just the things that we do know about now.
Right, and the former Trump administration official Acosta said that he was told to back off of Epstein, that he belonged to us, meaning the American intel agencies.
So what do you make of the dust-up between Bongino and Bondi? What do you think?
Well, let's listen to what Dan Bongino said on the show earlier. Watch. This was a few months back.
People ask me all the time, are these cases closed? And whether they're closed administratively is irrelevant. If new tips come in, we're absolutely going to follow them. And that's why I always put out, if you have additional information, please let us know. Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case. And there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not know.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. There's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out.
I'm frustrated because I feel like I believe Dan. I think he's an honest broker. I just would like more clarity. You can't have victims, dozens, perhaps hundreds of victims, and no one's arrested, no one's perp walked. If there are videos and images, are you telling me that it was only Jeffrey Epstein who was perpetrating these crimes, and yet you have this long string of people flying there and doing God knows what? I just want more information. It feels like we're not getting as much information as quickly as we would like it, and maybe it's going to come out. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but right now I think I'm in good company in feeling like this is not going the way I thought it would go.
I hope we get information. Anything that involves child sexual assaults,
yeah,
we need to know who's involved, and even if it is our own intel agencies, even if it's a foreign intel agency, whatever is happening should come to light, because that's just the morally right thing to do. And I think the country deserves that.
It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. It's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Pam Bondi. I'll tell you why, okay? I have nothing, yes, incompetence, yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with her nomination and her confirmation, and she's been loyal to the president, and I get that President Trump needs a loyal attorney general. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about. It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. They kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story. Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it, it's on her desk, it's coming tomorrow, you're gonna see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now, but both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it, take the crumbs and be happy. Refused to come out and give a presser, come out and give a press conference, stand there for 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest. But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo and whose name did and did not go on it and who it was and was not behind it.
So let's talk about what's really going on with Dan Bongino. This is a man who made his name after the Secret Service by going full throttle MAGA, claiming he was the one voice brave enough to call out the so-called deep state. He painted himself as the guy who had the guts to expose corruption, who never backed down, who told uncomfortable truths. And now? He's sitting near the top of the FBI, quietly overseeing one of the most politically volatile document troves in American history, the Epstein files. The irony writes itself. Just days ago, reports broke about a serious internal conflict between Bongino and former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's also in Trump's orbit. According to Fox News, Bondi wanted a full public release of the Epstein files, names, details, all of it. Bongino, however, pumped the brakes. He cited ongoing investigations, bureaucratic hurdles, and yes, national security concerns. That's the same language he used to mock Democrats for years. Now he's using it himself. The reaction from the MAGA base has been, let's say, less than thrilled. They were promised a reckoning. They were promised exposure of elites, a truth bomb that would shake the system. But what they got was a vague memo, heavily redacted documents, and a man who once screamed about transparency now going silent. He didn't appear on Fox to defend himself. He didn't go live with a signature rant. Instead, we got rumors that he might resign, that the internal pressure and external backlash have pushed him to the edge. That silence is telling. It's what happens when you build your brand on rage, and then realize governing is far messier than ranting into a mic. When Bongino was shouting from the sidelines, everything was simple black and white, good guys and bad guys. But now that he's in the system, he's seeing the gray areas. And the base that cheered him on doesn't do nuance. That's the real danger of building a movement around outrage. Eventually, the fire comes for you too. Bongino now finds himself on the receiving end of the same suspicion he once encouraged. He's no longer the outsider, he's part of the machine. And that transition rarely goes smoothly. But let's zoom out a bit. This isn't just about one man's credibility crisis. It's about a broader movement that can't seem to function when handed actual power. Drain the Swamp has become an endless loop of pointing fingers, exposing no one, fixing nothing. The Epstein files were supposed to be the smoking gun, but instead of answers, we got infighting, redactions, and excuses. At the heart of this mess is a fundamental truth. Outrage is easy, but responsibility is hard. When it came time to lead, Bongino hesitated. And now the people who once cheered his every word are asking whether he's just another swamp creature. Is Dan Bongino backing away because he sees how deep the rot goes, or because he's afraid of what full disclosure might reveal? We may never get a clear answer, but the fallout tells us everything we need to know about how hollow the promises of MAGA leadership have become. Let us know what you think in the comment. And if you're tired of performative politics with zero accountability, smash that like button, share this video, and stay with us. Because this story isn't over and neither are we.